Once there was a mighty king who reigned with justice and grace over his beautiful kingdom. He had wealth beyond our wildest imagination, and he had everything his heart could desire, except for a queen. He searched for her in exotic palaces of faraway lands. He held royal banquets and sought her in all the beautiful nobles from near to far, but none found favor in his eyes. The king paced back and forth in front of his throne every night, trying to think of the next place to look for his bride. He knew she was out there somewhere, and somehow he knew that he loved her already. The 3 royal jesters pranced around the throne room, trying to take the king's mind off this queen of his. But try as they may, they just fumbled and stumbled and fell to the ground. However, when a fight broke out between the 3 jester brothers, the slightest sign of a smile formed across the king's lips, and then quickly vanished into worried concern and concentration. One night, the king decided to go for a ride on his noble stallion, an attempt to clear his head with some fresh air. He galloped through the orchards and the thick wood beyond it. He rode until he reached the smallest city in his kingdom, and found himself in a dark alleyway. A hooded man was crouched in the corner and mumbled insanity. A sleazy crook counted his money and disappeared into the shadows. Then something caught his eye. A woman standing in a doorway. She was waiting for someone. Even under the dim glow of the broken street lamp, she looked stunning. Perfect beauty, but broken and empty. He watched. Realizing that this woman was a prostitute, the king turned in disgust and ready to leave. But then, her violent screams rang out through the night as she struggled for her life. The king stormed in after the tormented woman and found her in a pool of blood. Out came his sword and down went her tormentor. The king scooped up the wounded woman and rushed her off to his palace, where she would receive the best medical care in the kingdom. Back at the palace, the king found that the woman he had saved was called Starlina. Her life had been dark and empty, and her future dim and hopeless. But the king began to see her like no one had ever seen her. As Starlina's wounds healed, so did her heart. The king read to her fairy tales she had never heard before, and the two became friends. And the 2 friends became, well, see for yourself.
Tell me, when will you be mine? Tell me quando, quando, quando we can share a love divine. Please don't make me wait again. When will you say yes to me?
When will you say yes to me?
Tell me quando, quando, quando
Tell me quando, quando, quando
you mean happiness to me.
you mean happiness to me.
Oh my love, please tell me when. Every moment's a day.
Every moment's a day.
Every day seems a lifetime.
Every day seems like a lifetime.
Let me show you the way.
Let me show you the way
To a joy beyond compare.
I can't wait a moment more. Tell me quando, quando, quando.
Tell me quando, quando, quando
Just say it's me that you adore.
And then darling, tell me when.
Eh, eh.
Let me show you the way.
Let me show you the way
To a joy beyond compare. Ooh, yeah. I can't wait a moment.
I can't wait a moment more.
Tell me quando, quando, quando. Say it's me that you adore. And then, darling, tell me when. Oh, my darling, tell me when. And then, darling, tell me when. Oh, my darling, tell me when.
Just like the fairy tales the king read to Starlina in the beginning, after their passion-filled honeymoon was over, the two newlyweds returned to the palace and to running a kingdom. The king went away to make allies and sign treaties in foreign countries. He looked so forward to returning to his new bride. He would travel for weeks only to return home for a few days at a time. While Starlina was waiting for her king to return, she would sit in her room in front of her window watching the kingdom and waiting. Her servant girls would beg her to play with them, the jesters invited her to royal events, and the priests encouraged her to go out and get involved with her community, her kingdom. But still, she remained idle, waiting for her king to return. One night she looked out her window at the busy nightlife of the city. She remembered her friends and how it felt to bask in the desire of the traveling soldiers who often visited the brothel she once knew so well. She began to reminisce of the parties and the drunken nights of recklessness, drugs and drinks, and so many forgotten memories. I wonder how the girls are doing these days, she wondered. It'd be nice to see them again, just to catch up, just for a few hours. I'm sure the king wouldn't mind. She began negotiating with her conscience and convincing herself to take a visit to the brothel she used to work at, just to catch up, just for a few hours. So Starlina had her horse saddled and rode off into the night. When she arrived, she was welcomed by her friends with drinks in hand, ready to make merry at the return of their long-lost sister. "Take a drink," they gleamed. "Another round on the house. We have much to celebrate." The drinks came out and the men came in, and the party began. But off in the corner, in a shadow of evil, lurked an age-old villain, whose name was Death. Death was no stranger to the king. In fact, the king knew him all too well. For Death was the king's arch-rival, an infamous sorcerer who wanted nothing more than to kill the king and steal his kingdom. Starlina was making it oh so easy. Getting drunker by the moment, he would use this advantage. He began devising a scheme with his minions at hand. Get her to sign a contract, they plotted, a contract for her soul. "We will take her to our lair, the underworld beneath. The king will try to come save her, but fail, and I will be king! Ha 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 ha!" Death and his army of demons were banished long ago for their evil cruelties, banished to the underworld where the only portal was through death. If the king wanted to come save his precious queen, he would have to die to do it.